2-point perspective, yeah. Hey guys, let's go ahead and get rolling with this 2-point perspective. It's going to be a lot easier, I think, than 1-point perspective because I have great news for you. We don't have to worry about horizontal lines anymore. The only horizontal line that we're going to be doing is the exact middle horizontal line. All other horizontal lines, or would-be horizontal lines, inside of 2-point perspective will be going to one of the two vanishing points. So, as you might have guessed, 2-point perspective is in fact going to be a situation where we have two vanishing points. So where do we decide to put the two vanishing points? That's a great question. So unlike before with 1-point perspective where we put the vanishing point really high on the paper, we're going to go ahead and keep these vanishing points on the low end. So here's where we're going to put these vanishing points. We're going to go up about 1/4 of the page and we're going to put our vanishing points on the furthest point of the paper. So the very outside section right there. So give yourself a little bitty dot just like that. So I'm going to make it an X so you can see, or at least an arrow so you can see here. There's my vanishing point on this side. Go all the way across on this imaginary line that we call the horizon line. Also the line of sight, because this is where the person's head is going to be looking. And on the opposite side of the paper, draw yourself a vanishing point on that side as well. So now we have a vanishing point here and a vanishing point there. Two vanishing points. Let's label them VP1, VP2. Hey, before you get any further, make sure that you have that wonderful handy dandy ruler. I know some of you guys said that you didn't have a ruler, so books, anything like that that you can will be helpful. Again, I would always recommend using something lighter than a 2B pencil, but if that's not an option, that's okay. And also, hey, I just wanted to throw this out there. I got this beautiful thing on Amazon a while back. It just says AFMAT, so AFMAT eraser. It is an electric eraser, and whoa, it's amazing. So if you guys could ever invest in one of these, it was about $9. Beautiful investment. I love that thing. Okay, so here we go. 2-point perspective is super simple. It looks really complex if you look at it on the internet, and I have watched a lot of people do 2-point perspective really poorly, at least in terms of teaching it. So my goal with all perspective drawing is to minimize the amount of erasing that you might have to do. So in order to do that, you're going to be doing a whole lot of thinking of where something goes and drawing it without actually putting lots of extra lines everywhere, okay? So basically, I'm just trying to minimize how you erase. So here we are. I'm on my vanishing point, or my horizon line right here, and I have a vertical line. All of my vertical lines in 2-point perspective have to still be perfectly parallel to one another. Remember, parallel means that they're the same here and here. Those are both parallel vertical lines, right? So remember that. And all of my horizontal lines are now going to one of the two vanishing points, all right? So in 2-point perspective, I'm going to keep it simple. We're just going to draw a street view as well. So if we want to think about it like our local town of Tahlequah, we can draw salmonellas. Why not? And so here's what that might look like. First and foremost, we start with the corner of the building closest to us. It's really simple. Make sure that that line is nice and vertical and nice and parallel to the true vertical of my outside of my paper. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw a vertical line. I'm going to come down just a little bit below my horizon line here, and then I'm going to draw my vertical line up above my horizon line, so about like that. So I'm just below it here. So if I lay a pencil across this, I'll also go ahead and probably add an actual line there inside of the edit here. So there would be my horizon line, and there's my vertical line going through that. That line represents the corner of the building closest to me. So now comes the easy part, or at least how I have adapted this for the sake of making it simple. Now this is where it comes in play that I don't want to draw a bunch of lines that are unnecessary that I might have to erase. And so here's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to connect my ruler from the top of my vertical line to the first vanishing point over here. And then I'm going to draw a line from my vertical line down, but not all the way to my vanishing point. I'm going to go about right there. Sure, that looks great. I like it. Sounds great. So I've got my line here, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to VP number 2 over here, and I'm going to line up my ruler on VP number 2, and I'm going to line it up at the top of my vertical line. Ta-da! I have it lined up. Then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to draw another line going down to VP number 2. How long should it be? It's your thing, whatever you want to do. It doesn't really matter there. So I made mine a little bit shorter than this other line. If you're a perfectionist, you could actually measure that out, and that's totally fine as well. But look at us, we drew an arrow. Congratulations. Let's go ahead and go to the bottom of this. It's really simple. This one is even easier. We're going to connect again the bottom of vanishing point number 1 here and to the bottom of our vertical line. So we have the vertical line and the vanishing point number 1 connected, and now we're going to literally just draw a line all the way back to the vanishing point, like so. So now we have an arrow pointing to the sky, and we have this long line going this way. Coming over here to vanishing point number 2, we're going to do the exact same thing. Looks beautiful. Look at that. We have an arrow pointing down. We have a nice arrow pointing up and a nice ginormous obtuse angle at the bottom. So let's go ahead and finish out this building, which could be whatever building you want it to be. So it's really simple. All we need to do now is go back to our vertical line, and we're going to draw a vertical line that is parallel to this vertical line. And so I connect my ruler to the top of this top arrow here, and I'm just going to let that line ride all the way down until it connects with the bottom arrow. Do the same thing on the opposite side over here. Make sure again that your lines are nice and parallel and you're cozy with them. And voila, you have drawn a cube the way a cube should actually be drawn, as it sets in perspective, using correct spatial illusion with 2-point perspective. How easy is that? I think it's really simple, and I think the way that I have adapted this to help you figure it out is definitely simplified things. We don't have a lot of erasing. As a matter of fact, I have not erased a single time yet. So let's go ahead and add another building on this side. Now I do need to forewarn you that as we get closer to our vanishing points with other objects, the other objects are going to start looking a little bit strange, because as you can clearly see, the closer I get to my vanishing point, the more pinched my object is going to look. This is not wrong. It is exactly the way it's supposed to set in space, but this just means that we are very close to this object, okay? And that is going to make things look a little bit strange, but that's okay. So here we go. Same thing on this next building or object. We're going to come in and we're going to start with the vertical line. Hey, just for the sake of making this interesting, let's go ahead and shift a little bit of a space over here. And I'm going to, again, check my vertical line based off of this vertical line, which should be correct off of this vertical line. Everything looks nice and parallel. I'm happy with it. So now it's really simple. I draw from the bottom line up, and I'm going to go just above this building here, or this object here. So again, this bottom line here is going to represent the perspective for this object, and this object that we are drawing now is in the same perspective as this object. So here we go. We're going over here to vanishing point number 1 because it's right there. Might as well use it. So we're going to go over the top of it and connect our arrow again. This is going to be really, really peaky because of the fact that we are really close to vanishing point number 1 over there. And that's okay, just accept it. So here we are, we're going to draw this line down. Again, I'm not going to connect all the way. I want to give myself some room right here between those two. So I have the start of my next object, and now let's come over here to VP number 2, connect again from VP number 2 down to VP number 1. And this one's easy. We're just going to let it ride the ruler until it falls into that first building right there. So we're good and cozy. I like to go ahead on this point and finish off the side of this building. I'm going to do that again with a what? A vertical line. There we go. That vertical line has to be what? Parallel. Yep, you're right. Parallel to all other vertical lines inside of this drawing. There we go. Check it out. I have it. Is it complete? Bah, it is not complete. Here's a very common line, always forgotten, just like in Vanish or in 1 point perspective, we always forget this bottom little alleyway line. Don't neglect that little line. It's so sweet. It needs a life too. So here we go. Gonna come in here to vanishing point number 2. Because remember, we're on this side of the building, and this side of the building is the same as this side of the building, and this side of the building is going back to VP number 2. Therefore, this side of the building, which is the same as this one, should go to VP number 2. So check it out. Coming over here, VP number 2, pivot my ruler, rotate that bad boy up until it hits the corner of this vertical line. So right here, this corner. And then I'm going to connect from here until it runs into that building there. Check it out. We've got 2 buildings side by side. It's fantastic. They look like they're actually probably about the same height in regards to if we were to actually measure them, which is kind of interesting. But this one is smaller because of perspective. Hey, I want you to draw one on this side. It's your choice how tall you make this building. It's all up to you. Does not matter to me. Hey, let's go ahead and get some windows and some doors on this front building so that you can also figure out how to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and make these windows. They're really simple. If I'm drawing a window on this side of my building facing towards vanishing point number 1, then the tops and the bottoms of my windows and my doors will go to vanishing point number 1. And if I'm drawing a window or a door on this side of my building, which is facing towards vanishing point number 2, then they will go, tops and bottom lines will go to vanishing point number 2. So let's do vanishing point number 1. So again, I always like to just keep things simple for myself, but I do end up having to erase in the end because of this simplicity method, this simplified method rather, and that's okay with me. So here's how that works. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and decide where my windows are going to go, and I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to draw this line lightly, and I'm just going to draw this line all the way across that first building there, just like so. Then I'm going to come down to vanishing point number 1 again, and I'm going to pivot my ruler, and I'm going to decide my height of my windows. So this line here is the top of my window, which goes to vanishing point number 1, and then vanishing point number 1 again, and I'm going to draw another line all the way across my paper. Again, I want to keep these light. So these lines now represent the top and the bottom of my windows that are going back to vanishing point number 1. So now I can decide how many windows I want to put in here. I think I can fit probably about 3 windows in there, so let's go ahead and try to make that happen. So again, I'm going over here to the very first or the very back of my windows, and I'm going to check parallel based off of this building right here. So I'm checking parallel on this vertical line, and then I'm going to draw my vertical line, just like so. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to shift up the building just a little ways. I'm going to try to fit 3 windows on this. So I'm going to kind of give myself a little bit of a dash mark and say, I think I want a window there and a window there. And that looks cozy to me. So I can live with these little dash marks. Tell me about where my windows go. I could be a little more precise if I wanted to and measure that out, but I don't really feel like I need to in this situation. So here we are, another vertical line that is perfectly parallel to my other vertical lines. Voila. Shift to space, Another vertical line. Make sure you actually connect that all the way. And then yet again, another vertical line. And then shift to small space again. Vertical line. And finish that thing off. And since I'm over here close to this other line, I'm going to go ahead and choose vertical based off of that line itself. So pretty easy. There we go. And voila, I'm so happy. My windows look great. They're a little bit leany. It looks like I lost my vertical just a touch. So make sure that you spend time on actually making sure that they're nice and vertical. Hey, check out this eraser in action. This thing is amazing. Wow, that thing is amazing. I love this thing. Gets rid of everything. There you go. So that looks pretty nice to me. Now I can move in to drawing the door. Hey, I've already got the bottom of the door on this side. It's really easy. All I got to do is just to establish the height of my door. Back over here on vanishing point number 1, because I'm on this face of the building, facing towards vanishing point number 1. And I just need to establish the height of my door. I made a long door because I think I'm going to make this into a garage just for fun. There we go. So I've got my top of my door established. And now I just need to come in and draw my vertical lines. So that's really easy. Again, make sure that I'm following that parallel. So always checking parallel as I'm running here. And voila, I got a vertical line that's nice and parallel to this vertical line. Come over to the other side again. Vertical line, parallel to this other vertical line. And boom. Really nice looking. 3 windows, a nice little garage door. Hey, I can make this fancy if I want to, just for the sake of it. Let's have a quick little fun, and then I'm going to let you guys add it. So here's where we go. I can just come in here and establish this as a garage door by actually drawing the lines of my garage door on my garage itself. There we go. I just wanted to put 3 down because, surprise, I'm going to trick you here and see if you can figure this part out. I'm going to actually add the fact that this garage door is partially open. Look at that. It's an open garage door. There's actually some depth happening inside of this thing. So it's nice and open and everything looks really good to me. I'm pumped about it. Hey, here's what you got to do. You got to create another building on this side after you can create these and add some windows and doors and signs, whatever you want to add to it. You do you. I hope that you enjoyed 2 Point Perspective. Have a fantastic day.